I am, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Assemblymember Dee Dee Barrett, and I want to thank all of you for joining us here today for a very exciting announcement. I want to especially thank my Assembly Speaker, Carl Heastie, for returning to the beautiful 106th Assembly District. He has truly made an effort to understand and get to know every corner of the state of New York, and we really appreciate that of him. And it's a very diverse state, and there's a lot of different needs, and he has walked the walk, literally, to understand that. So I'd first like to recognize several of the dignitaries that are here today. New York State Homes and Community Renewal Commissioner Crystal Laughlin. Crystal here? Here you are. Come stand up here with us, Crystal. Thank you. We're great to have our state colleagues, glad to have our state colleagues here with us.
The mic isn't hooked up to a PA, so
These are all, you can't
we're going all natural.
Come in closer, come in closer. We also have Columbia County Board of Supervisors Housing Task Force Co-Chair and Canaan Town Supervisor Brenda Adams is here, okay.
Hello, Brenda.
City of Hudson Mayor Kamal Johnson and his +1. City of Hudson Common Council President Tom DiPietro. Habitat for Humanity New York State CEO Mary Robinson. Habitat Columbia County Executive Director Al Valencia, and many of the board members here. So thank you all for joining us for that. We have Hudson River Housing Executive Director Krista Hines. Hudson River Housing Vice President Roderick LeCloud. Okay, hi, nice to see you. And several other members of the Hudson River Housing team and staff. Thank you all for being here. Columbia County Housing Coordinator Chris Brown. Where's Chris? Chris there, okay. We've got City of Hudson Housing Justice Coordinator Michelle Tullo. Michelle, there. Renowned architect, pioneer of passive housing design, and my dear friend Dennis Wednick. Dutchess Community College President and Trustee Michael Dupree. Where's Michael here? And dear friend as well. Hudson Valley Patterns for Progress President and CEO Adam Bosch. Where's Adam? Adam Titan. The Northeast Community Center Community Programs and Tri-Town Coalition member Paul Benston. And of course, our speaker Carl Heastie. And I particularly want to thank the Chaudhry family, Mr. Chaudhry, who's here. Oh, there you are. Sorry. Here today. He's allowed us to use the front of his front yard, which we really appreciate. And I just wanted to share that this is, in fact, where my affordable, energy-smart housing journey began, at the groundbreaking for this house. It was part of Habitat for Humanity, Columbia County's Habitat for Humanity, passive townhouse, and it was one of the first, and it was a groundbreaking and really historic development for this country. The first time that affordable and energy efficient came together for housing, and it has been a model for not just our region and state, but for the rest of the country. And Brenda was then the executive director, and Dennis was the architect of this, and we are here today standing in front of those houses, which is pretty cool. So, thank you. So 2 months ago, I welcomed Speaker Heastie to our district as part of his annual statewide tour. I told him I wanted to discuss affordable housing issues and show him how they are playing out in my largely rural district with some 26 individual and different towns and villages and one wonderful little city, Hudson. We all know that housing is a statewide crisis, and we tried in the last budget to start to address this. But it's clear to me that while we all recognize that the state needs to build more affordable housing, there is no solution that is a one-size-fits-all. I wanted the speaker to understand the particular obstacles that we face here in this region that make the development of affordable housing challenging. And that includes the smaller scale that we operate in. Nobody's building, 10-story buildings or 40-unit buildings right here. And our small towns, it's even more rural and open, and so we need 2 and 4 and 6 small numbers of units there. That's our scale. We also have local zoning restrictions that we are working with and against, all in different ones in different municipalities. We have inadequate water and sewer infrastructure. Many of our municipalities have very basic, some of it have none. So a lot of the funding at the state level is to improve, expand, and enhance. There's nothing to expand and improve when you don't have anything to start with. So those are the challenges, on top of course, the workforce shortages and the rising cost of construction. Last year, with support from our speaker, I was able to give $1 million to Columbia Green Community College to expand their construction trades program. And today's announcement builds, and yes, the pun is intended, builds on that investment by providing funding to support the construction of affordable housing for both ownership, home ownership, and rentals in Columbia and Dutchess County. And I'm thrilled to announce that with the support of Speaker Heastie, we have secured $3 million in funding to build more affordable housing in the beautiful Hudson. $1.5 million will be allocated to Columbia County Habitat for Humanity to support their great work creating affordable and energy-efficient homes for first-time home owners. And the other $1.5 million is for Dutchess County-based Hudson River Housing to continue the development of affordable, smart growth rental units. Both of these organizations already have plans for development of affordable housing right here in the city of Hudson, which faces a profound housing crisis that was exacerbated by the COVID situation. And we have asked both Habitat and Hudson River Housing to use a sizable portion of this funding to create affordable housing right here in the city of Hudson. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce my colleague, my friend, and our wonderful Assembly Speaker, Carl Heastie.
So, oftentimes we think affordable housing is just a problem in big cities like New York, like where I come from. I represent, I believe, the greatest place in the world in the Bronx, New York. But when I came up here just a couple of months ago with Dee Dee, one of the things she said to me was, she says, we can never have a one-size-fits-all, that the issues that may be here in the Hudson Valley, of course, are different, and you got to be able to do things really on a smaller scale. And I know when the governor put forward her ambitious, housing plan, it was very broad, but I do think we have to do it in a systematic way. And this housing crisis is not just a crisis in New York. Recently I was at a speakers conference in Utah. Utah, of all places, where most of the population is really centered around within 50 miles of Salt Lake City. And the speaker there actually said the 2 biggest problems that people in Utah are dealing with is affordable housing and climate, which, coming from his party, was a little shocking to me, but it really is reality. But I just think across the nation, the issue of people being able to have a place to live, a place to call home, and a place to take care of their families, we are indeed in a crisis. And what we're doing here today is really, it's a small piece of what needs to really be done. But it was really in partnership with Dee Dee to show the Hudson Valley that we know you're here, and we know how important your needs are, and that it's not lost on us. Oftentimes, people think that I think upstate New York starts with Westchester County. But I do enjoy traveling the state. I've done it every single year since I became speaker, except for, of course, the year, excuse me, of the pandemic. And I've learned so much. And so, and I want to continue to learn, and I want to continue to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the people and the families in the state of New York. And just having the ability to usher in people that have home ownership, which I think is hugely important, and sometimes it's left out of the discussion of affordable housing. But on the other side, we have to have affordable rentals because sometimes people can't afford to have a house, or you may not even be at the point where you know where you want to settle and buy a house. So I think having both options for people is hugely important. And so I'm glad we were just able to come here today and just do a little bit of our part. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite Al Valencia, Executive Director of Columbia County Habitat, to come up to say a few words. Al's been the ED since 2021 and has hit the ground running, working to fulfill Habitat's mission to bring people together to build homes, to build communities, and to build hope. I have worked with Habitat throughout my tenure in office and currently working on a bill that will look at taxation and assessment and make sure that people who are buying homes can actually stay in their homes and their homes can stay affordable. So I'm thrilled to have Al here, as well as this statewide CEO, Mary Robinson of Habitat.
Wow. We're not used to this. So, Mr. Speaker, Judy, thank you so much. Not just for this moment, but for your continued support and your determination to make progress on providing affordable housing in all our communities, especially those who struggle like us. It's one of the seminal issues that we face. Mr. Chowdhury, thank you and your family for providing us a lovely backdrop.
Thank you for everything.
These homes were finished 10 years ago. And they're really an example of what community can do when it comes together in determination to make a difference. I want to thank Brenda and Dennis for making this possible. It was your innovative thinking that efficiency and affordable housing could work. And so it's the launch pad of what comes next. So thank you. There are two dozen other examples of community-supported construction that are spread around our county, and they're a testament to our 30 years of work here. Work that many of you who are here, or those who are here in spirit, made possible. So thank you. At the beginning of this year, we announced a plan to accelerate our building capacity. In May, we broke ground on 2 homes in Philmont, and last week we announced the new building concept that will bring efficient, sustainable, and low-cost homes to more of our communities. You see some renderings behind you. This magnificent gift will allow us to accelerate these building plans. It takes many hands to build a home, and it also takes a few dollars. So we are greatly appreciative to have a couple more. We hope, Mr. Mayor, Michelle, to be building here in Hudson again soon. We've had conversations trying to figure out the possibilities. Hopefully we'll accelerate that. It's critically important that we take action to provide affordable housing options for our average wage and lower income residents. As George Bailey told us in It's a Wonderful Life, these are the folks who do most of the working and paying and living and dying in our communities. He believed they deserved a decent place to live, and so do we. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary next Thursday in our restore. You are all invited to join us. We'll bring more champagne along, so please join us. And so, Mr. Speaker, Assembly Member, all of my friends, let's get building. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be here today. At Habitat for Humanity, we see every day the impact that home ownership can bring to families, to neighborhoods, to society. The children whose parents own their own homes, they have better educational outcomes and better health outcomes. The stability that home ownership provides helps neighborhoods thrive. But the challenges that we are facing with regards to housing in New York State are far bigger than any one of us can solve alone, which is why we are so grateful to have representatives like Assemblymember Barrett and Speaker Hasty who recognize the value of our work and understand that an investment today in affordable home ownership will impact families for generations to come. Most recently, Assemblymember Barrett sponsored and championed a bill in the Assembly that, if passed, will help correct a property tax system in New York that is both inconsistent and unfair to Habitat homebuyers. This bill will not only help reduce the subsidy that Habitat for Humanity must provide for to put a family into a home, but it will also help stretch the state's investment, allowing us to serve more families. This bill is just one step towards solving the housing challenges that we face, but it's a step in the right direction. And we are optimistic that with champions like Speaker Hasty and Assemblymember Barrett, together we can build a brighter future for all New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Al. Now I'd like to welcome Krista Hines, Executive Director of Hudson River Housing, to say a few words. Krista's been with Hudson River Housing since 1998 and oversees a portfolio of 1,335 affordable housing units across the Hudson River Valley. And I know she's working on several right now in my district and right here in the city of Hudson. So, Krista.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Krista Hines. It is such an incredible honor to be here this morning. I'm glad I've had about a week to pull myself up off the ground after I got the most incredible news last week. By far the most incredible news in my tenure at Hudson River Housing. I'll never forget the day. It was October 12th, 3 o'clock, when Dee Dee called and said that she was awarding Hudson River Housing $1,500,000. To say that we are honored and grateful is a huge understatement. I don't think I'll ever actually be able to express the magnitude of what these funds mean to Hudson River Housing and to the communities that we serve. We've been doing a lot of work over a lot of years to address the severe housing shortage and housing crisis that we are in. And we're really proud for our continued partnership with New York State during COVID and beyond to deliver much needed rent relief and a lot of subsidy programs to thousands of people in a time where they really needed it the most. And we're definitely making a lot of progress, and we're really excited to see municipalities and communities are making a lot of progress too. They are revising their comprehensive plans and they're updating their zoning and they're having a lot of meetings and discussions and coming up with real solutions. Housing is finally becoming part of the narrative. But we have not had a day like this one, or a meeting like this one, in a really, really long time. Days where a community leader and a true champion for affordable housing make such a bold statement and commitment for the betterment of so many families and communities like Assemblymember Dee Dee Barrett and Speaker Hasty did today. So thank you. This award is such a significant milestone for Hudson River Housing and will propel us so much farther along on our path to create housing opportunities that our communities so desperately need and deserve. It's also a testament to our dedicated staff, many of which are here today, and our valued partners. But most importantly, it is a responsibility that we take on with the utmost privilege and seriousness and vigilance. We're especially excited to see $250,000, if not more, go into the city of Hudson. We're really excited to be working with our partners, Ken and Sean Carney, on rental housing here in the city, as well as affordable home ownership opportunities here in the city. And we're excited that it will provide real relief for the city of Hudson. We're also really excited to be bringing our homeownership counseling and our educational services here to Columbia County. We have lots of other exciting projects that we're working on, one in Pine Plains, in Millerton, in Amenia, in Millbrook, in Poughkeepsie, in Southern Dutchess, just to name a few. And with these resources, we're really hoping that we can do even more in other parts of Dutchess County as well as Columbia County. We definitely couldn't do this work without the support from New York State, and again, on behalf of our 191 staff, our board of directors, and all of the people that we serve, thank you so much for believing in Hudson River Housing and for all that you have done for so many years to serve and to improve the lives of so many people in our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krista. Now I would like to invite Mayor Kamal Johnson to come up and Rio, yes? Mayor Johnson has made affordable housing in the city of Hudson a priority, appointing the first housing justice coordinator, Michelle Tullo here, and has worked with a number of our partners that are being funded today, but also other parts. And it was critical to us that a portion of the funding that we get for my district be directed specifically to the city of Hudson. So I thank you for your leadership and love to hear from you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start by thanking Speaker Hasty, Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett for having us all here this morning. Affordable housing has been the #1 priority of my administration. Our people in Hudson are the soul of our city, and we really want to keep them here, living here. As a lot of you may know, for the last 2 years, we haven't been able to keep a football team on the field in our high school because we don't have enough students. When I look at our partnerships with Habitat for Humanity, that's where a lot of our students are held in some of these houses, as well as some of our firefighters. So trucks are another issue, but that's a different story. So when I think of affordable housing, there's a lot of misconceptions, but we're not realizing that these are the people who work in our schools, these are the people who work in our grocery stores, who take care of us in the hospital. So as we work on a local level to put over 100 new units of affordable housing over the next 3 years, it's amazing to hear that there's a state commitment as well. And that's what this should all be about, is local politics and state politics working together for the community. So once again, thank everyone for being here, and I would love to thank our Assembly member.
Thank you. So for our final speakers, I'm going to loop back to where we all began here and ask Dennis and Brenda to come up and just reflect on where we've come from and what we're doing and how we make sure we achieve all these goals. So thank you again all for being here, Brenda and Dennis. Please.
It's such a pleasure for me to be here today, because if I look up and down the street, I think we have 8 housing units on this street, and it starts to tell the history of an organization, a small but mighty organization, and its progress over time. I don't know, for those of you who may not know, we have our first certified Energy Star house on this street. We have our first actually we had 3 passive house prototypes that were built on this street. We had our first study. We did a study for the state that compared the efficiency and cost effectiveness of Energy Star houses versus passive houses. And all of those things were in addition to building affordable housing units. These were commitments or projects that we wanted to further, because we wanted to make sure that people in affordable housing could stay in affordable housing, that the cost to stay in those homes was as low as it could possibly be. So I am just truly so happy to be here and to see not only officials, but also to see volunteers who helped with their hands to build these houses and to make this quality of life for the residents of the home, but also for the community. I also really want to acknowledge Dee Dee in perhaps a different way. I mean, now we have more tools in our box. The county has done a housing needs assessment. After a couple of years, we were able to found and fund a countywide task force. But years before either of those projects were complete, Dee Dee and Dennis and I were sitting in a diner, I think in Copiague, talking about the need for affordable housing. And Dee Dee has been with us every step of the way in terms of not only understanding the need for affordable housing, but also, I think what's critical today is understanding the barriers to developing additional affordable housing in small and rural communities. So I just want to thank her. I also want to thank the speaker, because sometimes communities of our size feel overlooked or ignored. And the fact that you've been here twice, you came, you listened, you went back and you thought about it, and you came back with resources, that's an enormous gift to us. In addition, small communities really appreciate being heard and responded to. So thank you very much for for responding to us as equals, as people that were equally important in the equation of housing in this state. So I just can't tell you, my heart is so full I can hardly speak. It's full of gratitude, and it's also full of joy, because I know that the progress that Habitat and Hudson River Housing have made over the last few years will be leveraged, their capacity will be extended, they'll be able to help serve more families, but they'll also be able to serve as the inspiration for other developers of affordable housing. So thank you all for being here and for supporting all of the various groups that are here. Thank you very much.
So I need my glasses because I'm going to read this. This is truly an awesome day, for everyone, and again, our thanks to our New York representatives who care about every family and every penny spent on publicly funded infrastructure. And by infrastructure, I mean, the architecture, the technologies, the construction methods and means, not just, the sewer that runs through the street. Columbia County, or actually where you stand, may only be a short train ride outside of New York City and Albany, but including Hudson, we're about as rural can be. This is why Dee Dee called the work that Brenda and I did the rural build, because the challenges that a city like Hudson and all our surrounding communities face is that it's mostly made up of small storefronts and homes that are owned and rented by a few thousand people. I mean, we're really just end to end, just sparsely populated, and we're losing people, and that is really a shame. So, Dee Dee, Assemblymember Barrett, has been out front, and she has been explaining that there is a way to preserve and protect New York State's rural communities, like Hudson and Philmont and Ankrum, their economy and ecology, because it's unique. There's no way to do it without affordable housing opportunities for our rural workforce. And as the mayor had said, that means our teachers, our firefighters. And so these people need our help, and they often can't get it because they don't quite fit into the formula. So Speaker Carl Heastie, he understands us. He listens when I say, that the rural residents and business owners contribute their taxes for sustaining essential urban and suburban infrastructure required to provide affordable housing opportunities to the big cities and their surrounding suburbs. And to be fair and equitable, an appropriate amount of funds must be allocated to serve the needs of our rural residents, our small city residents, our small city businesses, so that we may do the same in our towns, in our communities. Thank you for listening, my soapbox. Thank you for sharing in this joy that New York State proves again and again that it is the most inclusive and most progressive state in the nation.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here and for sharing in this very special day. I mean, as you've heard from a number of the speakers, amongst the challenges have been to break down the silos that New York State had unintentionally created as